Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Not sure how to pronounce this name. Hun Wilson, I think is how it pronounces. And this is in response to how to upgrade the Roland TR-8 firmware video I did in July 2020. And Hun writes, I went ahead and subscribed with this. How helpful was this? I bought one of these from a friend when he was in a pinch, and I really just now started getting into it. The long and the short, my computer didn't recognise the machine. It finally did after a lot of connecting, disconnecting and reboots. Yeah, this is an utter pain. This is all to do with the way the Roland drivers interact. I bumped the power cable down, MIDI download on the first go, did a factory reset, went through the same agonising process again, and now it's updated. I'll be looking into the expansion next, and compatibility with the 404 is worth checking out. From my understanding, you can essentially run any sample you want through the TR8. That would be a massive game changer. Moral of the story, don't import updates with expensive equipment on your laptop. Don't give up, since these machines are resilient. Thank you for the video. Again, thank you for the feedback. Now, my policy is always to perform a factory reset whenever I buy any equipment. I always work out. Well, I will do a couple of things. Number one, I work out whether it's working, whether I think it's working, and secondly, I always then do a factory reset on any instrument I buy. The reason why is I spent far too much time in the past trying to debug problems that don't actually exist. It's because the lunatic who had the keyboard before me has kind of done something weird in the settings, and that has basically, sorry, I've got a motorbike just whiz past the house. You don't get very much stuff around here, and all of a sudden you get, today I've had motorbikes whizzing up and down. I don't know. So anyway, you don't know who the lunatic is that had it before you, and therefore you don't know what they've done, and I've spent far too much time trying to do that. Now, the sample issue was addressed when they discontinued the TR8 and replaced it with the TR8S that does allow you to load custom samples, which I think is kind of where a lot of the drum machines are kind of going at the moment, especially the stuff that's scheduled to come out from Behringer at some point this year. That's all going to be really sample based, so you can load your own samples in there. But what it always is, and I say this many times on the channel, it's always really interesting to hear the issues and the performances and the successes that other musicians are having with the gear that I showcase on the channel. Next comment or question comes from Gallant Go Studio relating to the Death of the KRONOS video I did in December 2021. And a very simple question: any news from Korg? And I can tell you now, the answer is no, and the answer is no 6 months after I wrote the reply. Not a sausage has come from Korg relating to the next possible workstation. However, what has been really interesting was a live stream from the European Behringer team that happened last Sunday when I wrote this reply. On the cast, many questions were raised when we will see enter product name be launched, and while they didn't give it any specific launch dates, what they did say was some of the issues they were facing were in product development. Specifically, Chips they require not being available for 2 years based on current manufacturing timescales and capacity. Chips being discontinued and having to redesign circuitry for an alternative if the chip or redesigned offered a different chip selection. Chip prices rising dramatically. They quoted one example where a chip was a few dollars at conceptual design and the chip had risen to over $100 as that design progressed, which meant the design, if they were designing to a price point, that could sink their delivery. Now, they were open with their problems and they said that other manufacturers were experiencing exactly the same problems. I suspect Korg are in that category. But what they were not doing was being vocal with the market and potential customers other than Behringer. But Behringer has a different philosophy in terms that they showcase what they're doing to see if the market is interested, rather than make a product and hope the public will go and buy it. Different concept to a lot of the other manufacturers, which is the reason why it feels like there's a long time between Behringer sort of saying we're building the da and that product actually coming to market and being available for sale. They also said that a number of the other manufacturers were sitting on piles of components, which has allowed them to release products, but not necessarily all the components they might need to launch a new product or some sort of new groundbreaking product into the current market. They don't have sufficient components to do that. Just thought this was a really interesting side to the question of why aren't we seeing the new Korg workstation. It could be that we never will see a new Korg workstation. I think Korg are completely mad if they don't try to actually top the competition. I was hoping that we might get something early 2023, but the reality is we've heard diddly squat. And that's not the farm owned by Jeremy Clarkson.